So it's been, for me, with the whole podcast thing, now we can talk about it.
Cool, yeah.
Started because my mom, I was going back and forth from here in Vegas to Tampa every other weekend to take care of her.
Okay.
She was UTIs, dementia,
Sure.
almost
That's
80 at the
sad.
time,
Yeah,
right? And at the decline of her life, and she was giving up on life.
Yeah.
And only child raised by a single mom.
Very.
And my dad was in the picture too, but he was in Cape Cod most of the time, and I was in upstate New York. So she played a big part in my life, and being an only child was like,
It's rough. Yeah.
Yeah. And at that time also, I was in real estate as a title rep here in town, had done it for like 10 years.
Yeah.
And I couldn't go see my clients.
Okay.
Because my brain just wasn't into it.
Sure.
And so I figured, all right, like November of 2022, I was like, what can I do to stay in front of a bunch of people? And I've never been shy on camera.
Yeah.
I've always been cool in front of a camera.
Yep.
So what can I do?
Right.
I should do a podcast. Everyone's doing a fucking podcast now. And so did my due diligence, found Level 9 Studios here in Vegas. Scott Vera is the fucking man. There's none better. He's worked with some of the best in the business.
Yeah.
And so just started and didn't fail forward, but just learn from my mistakes. And the best thing I did was would ask Scott after every episode, how'd I do? Because he's 20 years in video production, 10 years doing pods.
Yeah.
Right? So that's just kind of how it started, and then got out of doing just real estate in September. And then now I'm talking to like you, adult film stars.
Yeah. It's going good for you.
Who it's thank you.
Because almost overnight, you popped up on my radar. So it wasn't like I could look back 10 years of your work, but all of a sudden you were everywhere. It's pretty cool.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's cool that the best part about doing this is you can find out a lot about me really quick.
Yeah.
And there's ways to look into data to see if I'm like, I don't pay for followers.
Right.
I don't pay for likes.
Which
I don't pay for stuff.
I've made that mistake before being on certain podcasts.
Same.
Like, oh, cool, this guy's got a lot of followers. And you're just naive in the bit. You're just trying to get yourself out there. Okay, this guy's got this, or they'll reach out to you and it's okay, cool. But then you're like, oh, wait a minute. That's fucked. Which I'm okay to pay for those lessons. That's part of it. That's part of all of it, right?
I'd rather they happen now than tomorrow.
Right.
Or next week.
Or when it gets more expensive.
Or when it gets a lot more expensive for production.
Yep, exactly.
Let's talk a little bit about, because when this is really betting on yourself.
Sure.
Doing this.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. When you come into a podcast, I think it's like 95% of every podcast doesn't go past the second episode.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So
there's something about episode like 21, too, that's a big number. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, you're like in the top like 1% in the world of podcasters.
Yeah.
It doesn't take long.
Right.
So, and this is like, I said before, I'm closing on episode 50 almost for me.
Awesome.
I'm in the high 40s. Thank you.
Yeah. That's cool.
And so what motivates you to do it? And where are you at right now in the process of doing it?
So for podcasting, man, I just started and I filmed my first, I got actually a pretty cool story. So filmed my first episode. The co-host then calls the next day. Hey, man, I'm out. We just got the first one done. I should probably back up how it all started. So it kind of just started where I was getting better and better at my social media presence and trying to. It wasn't like an accident, right? I'm trying to and hired a coach and everything with intention. The next logical step was get a podcast. And that was been for a long time like, dude, you need to get one. You need to get one. I'm like, oh, fuck, what am I going to talk about, right? Like, I don't know. And finally, you just do it. Well, this guy, I hit him up because I'm trying to get on podcasts, much like I reached out to you, trying to get on podcasts because I'm like, that's maybe better in the short term. Let me get on there, get my voice out there. Let me get what I'm doing with my day job and life insurance, and let me get out there that way. And then enough people are like, hey, you should do your own. Like, you're pretty good. People want to hear what you have to say. Good, not just business shit, but other stuff too. Like, people want to hear you talk. So I'm like, okay. Well, I was reaching out to this guy about being on his show in Denver. I've realized, we're local. His show's not very big, but it's local. So it'd be local is local, right? It's not a trip to Vegas. It's not a trip it's local, whether different size, it's still something. It's content. We're talking on the phone about it. He goes, and I could kind of hear the conversation shifting from being on his show to helping him run a show. And I'm like, oh, that's what this conversation's about. I'm like, yeah, I'm already in. Like, I was already doing this with or without you at some point, but now you just made me jump in. We're going to do this. And then I was on another guy's, buddy of mine's podcast, just another small one locally, again, for content. And he did all this shit himself, all the engineer, all the gear. He's running around like a madman, pushing buttons, getting shit set up. And I watched how quick he worked. And he's a young kid. I'm like, you want to be my producer? He's like, yeah. I'm like, perfect. It came together within a week, less than a week. And then we filmed our first episode. And it was the next day, he's like, dude, I'm out. I'm like, fuck, I guess I'm doing this by myself now, which I was blessing in disguise. I know what I want. I'm pretty like, I'm okay to outside input. I really am. But like on certain things I don't care about, but things I care about, I'm not moving on. So eventually that may have been a problem. I don't know. Me being by myself is probably better, much like yourself, right? So like ultimately it's what I wanted. And then I got it.
The buck stops here.
I wanted, and then I was happy to have him, but then he backed out. I'm like, oh, well, shit, I guess it's just me. So then that's how it happens. We refilmed episode 1, which was weird. Now I'm just talking to my producer, no guest, trying to get my little mini story out there. And then episode 2 came right along. Episode 3 came right along, and we've got like 5 guests booked out already. So
Good for you.
It's happening quick.
The thing about it is, again, I'm going to come back to that. Now I'm going to ask the same question again to you.
Okay.
Because thanks for the background.
Yeah.
What is it about betting on yourself? What is it inside of you?
It's not my first time. It's not my first time betting on myself. I've had to several times. Like more of my backstory, I used to build power lines, and I was a lineman for 17 years.
Stop right there for a second, Tony. If I could fucking Google, if I can go into fucking Chat GPT and say, make a picture of me of a lineman, of a guy that fucking hangs power lines, this would come up. This is what would come up right here.
These tattoos didn't come from when I was in finance. Like
no.
Yeah, no.
Dude, this is what would come up right here as a guy that does power lines.
Yeah.
Fuck yes.
Yeah.
Like power lines and like front row to like WCW Raw.
Yeah, no shit.
Fucking just crushing beers and having a good time. Like you're the person I hung out with all in college.
Yeah.
Like so now go ahead and
makes
continue.
more sense now. Now my appearance makes more sense, right? Okay, yeah. So then I was like kind of bored doing that, and I was good at it. By no means was I didn't wash out, right? I left there because I wanted to, but it was like, okay, what else can I do with the kind of money I was making? What else can I go do without? I have a wife, I have kids. To not change their lifestyle, not to take a step back to zero. What else can I do? And it was financial advising, or so I thought. I kind of jumped into that thinking it was going to be a financial advisor. Ended up kind of specializing in life insurance. But like when I first made the jump, like that's what I went for, and I did really well. And
what made you do really well? Because you're relatable.
I think they're tired. Most people are tired of guys in suits. They're like, and guys in suits are stepping over the guys to get to the rich guy. They're stepping over 100 people that could be clients because they want to work with the guy who's already rich. And here I am being relatable to the blue collar people that don't trust guys in suits. I know I lived that life. I am that life. Now it's like, well, I'm walking in looking like this, and it's like, it works. So that was my first demographic, was linemen, because I know how they work. I know what they spend their money on. I know what they need help with. I know what their retirement looks like. I know where they're lacking. Like, guys, you're missing this big piece of the puzzle. And I just show them that. And there's ways that a policy can be structured that favors the agent or favors the client. And I understood that dynamic really quickly, just looking at, oh shit, you guys are missing something here. So I go back, hey guys, if we structure it this way, you guys win. I win by numbers because I'm going to get 100 clients from this versus getting rich off one dude. So I realized that instantly. And I was like, why aren't you dickheads doing this? Like, you guys are so greedy that you're doing, and it was like it was like so easy for me, yet so hard for everyone else to do that. I'm like, dude, well, you guys are high. So work quickly.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's fine. That's it.
It is, no one likes to be sold anything.
Correct.
But everybody needs to buy.
Yes. Especially life insurance. No one's shopping for life insurance.
Especially life insurance.
You can talk about it. It's like, it's uncomfortable. Everyone's like, oh, I'm not going to die. And especially guys my age, like, oh, I'm fine, dude. But then you work in an industry that's people do die, and you see the GoFundMe pages, and you see the things like, hey, I live that. I still donate to those things, but you raise $30,000 for your family. Like, how about $1 million for $30 a month? Yeah. Like, what are we talking about? Why? How can you be so? But then they don't want to know that. The selling part. And
to get back to the selling part, the thing that I'm seeing now, especially being in this business, is when you come on a podcast, because I tell anybody that's just starting out, when you start, and even beforehand, get on as many podcasts as you can. Yeah. I don't care if it's in someone's basement and they get 5 views a year. I don't care.
It's the reps.
Get your reps in, yes. And I use that same term. Get your reps in because the more you do, the more on camera, on mic stuff you do, the better you are. I still go on podcasts as often as I can.
Yeah.
as often as I
Yep.
can. I'm
I'll
lucky.
have to have you on mine one day.
I love it.
Yeah.
I'm down because
Yeah.
I'm lucky being here.
Yes.
A bunch of people have
It's
them.
easy. Location-wise for you, it's awesome
Oh, it's
because
great.
everyone's, I got to go to Vegas for a week. Boo-hoo. Fuck, I'm going to go see
It's
Jeff.
great.
That's awesome, right?
And
Denver's a little harder, and I'm working hopefully through that, and Denver hopefully becomes more of a, it's an easy flight for most people. Chicago's an hour, hour and a half flight. Denver's an hour, Vegas, hour and a half flight.
just get your reps in
Yeah.
on as many pods as you can. And just keep
that's what-
doing that because I've learned a lot from that. I think I was on like 7 or 8 last year, and I learned something from every single one of those.
Yeah. How
Every
they
one
do
of
it,
them.
how they run it. I watched a guy use Sticky Paws uses iPhones. I'm like, that's kind of cool. Like, maybe, I don't know, but it's cool just seeing different shit.
You learn what to do. You learn what you wouldn't do.
Yep, what you wouldn't do.
Because we all have a fingerprint, and that makes us different than anybody else in the world.
Yep.
Even identical twins have separate fingerprints,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And so I could try to recreate what you do. There's no way I'm going to do the same thing you do, Tony.
Right.
No way. There's no way I want to. And
Right.
the cool part I'm seeing now and that my guests are seeing is to come on here, talk as much as you can about you
Yeah.
and who you are
I'm still working on that.
and the person you
Yeah.
are. And this is why, because if the podcast is good, like what I do for all my guests is you're as a collaborator. So then you get my audience, I get yours, get shared.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden that's a whole nother audience
For both of us.
that I'm collaborating with you on and tagging you on.
Yep.
Because I get now at least 6 to 7 shorts out of every long form video.
Yep.
Industry standard's about 5.
Nice.
But I've gotten good enough now with the
Yeah.
conversation.
You know where it's going, how to
And,
steer it.
and
yeah.
I've now hired, and this is also the evolution of what to do.
Yeah.
It took me I've always been a good talker on camera, but it took me about 6-7 months to really get my voice
Sure.
with what I'm doing, and also break out of doing just real estate stuff, which is boring as fuck sometimes.
it can be,
I
yeah.
had great guests, God bless, but
Yeah.
holy hell.
Yeah.
And that now I've hired a guy who he does all my short form videos for me. He
Okay.
edits all of them.
There you go.
His clients alone got 750 million likes on Instagram and TikTok last year.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Max is a stud.
Yeah.
Max is a stud. He's going to watch this right now and go, you're welcome, Max.
There you go.
Fucking love you.
Little plug, Max.
And he's in college. He's in LA in college.
cool. Yeah,
This
the
is like
young-
his side hustle.
That's what I'm saying. Like
What?
my engineer, producer, I'm not sure what to even call him. I think it's producer, right? He
Yeah.
runs all this shit. He's 23. He's a whiz. I'm like, I'm 37, man. I'm like,
No, you're old.
I don't know.
Dude,
Yeah, exactly.
you're
In this
old.
world, we're dinosaurs.
I'm in retirement at 54.
I know.
Because I've got Max. I have Christian, is this amazing kid in Austin.
Yeah.
He does nothing but my YouTube thumbnails.
Nice. That's it.
And my numbers, because my YouTube numbers, the shorts have always been okay.
Okay.
I've had one that's almost at 1 million views, but they've been okay. But my long form, not a lot of people have watched it, and they're good episodes. Now
the thumbnails.
he's going back and redoing all my thumbnails.
So
and
weird, you know?
all of a sudden, there is now an uptick in click-throughs
Got it.
on my long form stuff.
Yeah.
And then the last thing I've done that I qualified to get in, probably the best, anyone that's putting content on YouTube, the best person to look at, best company is Think Media.
Okay.
Think Media, and I'll give you their stuff after when
Yeah,
we're done.
for sure.
Sean Cannell is the guy that owns it, and they're here in Vegas. They are the shit. They
Okay.
give out more free stuff
Really?
on their YouTube on how-tos and what to do.
Check it out. Ace,
And
whenever you watch this Ace, make sure you get on that. I'll just push Ace towards that. There you go, buddy.
You want Think Media. They
Yeah.
have like a class you could do for it's like $1,000. You're in it for life.
Yeah.
I'm in that.
Okay.
It's a ranking academy. A
Okay.
video ranking academy.
All right.
There's a private Facebook group. It's super cool.
Yeah.
A lot of collaboration goes on. There's a guy named Omar that still works a little bit, I think, with Sean at Think Media, but Omar's gone on his own to start offering YouTube classes,
Yeah.
coaching. And it's not cheap.
Right.
And he lets 30 people in a year.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah.
And I got in for this year.
Nice.
And having the first call tomorrow.
Yeah.
There's channel audits. He has his own podcast. He brings in ballers on his podcast at the level he's at is
Right.
up here.
Right.
He's top of the top.
Sure.
And the people that are on his podcast are going to be on these calls. And he'll be talking to them. And at the end, there's a Q&A. We all get to ask questions.
Yeah.
First call is tomorrow. So I'll let you know what
Nice.
happens.
Yeah.
But
Because when you do this, you're not thinking about those things. You're thinking about having conversations with people.
you don't think about what
But
goes
there's
on
a
the work
whole
behind it.
world behind it of, well, you want the results, you have to do these things,
Yeah.
right? That's like the hardest part for me.
And for anybody getting into it,
Yeah.
it depends how many episodes you're going to do.
Yeah.
Okay. But I mean, per episode, there's a cost there.
Yep.
People don't understand. People,
Yep.
the funny thing with this is they'll say, hey, I'm in town this weekend. Would love to jump on your podcast.
That was me. I did that to you a couple times.
Yeah.
I know.
And I'm
I was trying to get in, but
I'm like, I'm at the mercy of Scott, who is,
Yep.
without a doubt, not even arguably, the best podcast studio in Vegas is Level 9.
Yeah.
So to get in here,
Yep.
it's a month
Yep.
minimum. And now
when you explain it to me, I'm like, oh, I'll just plan it. Let's just plan it.
and that's the best way to do it, because even I'm, knock on wood, lucky enough that I now have a wait list of people that want to come on.
Yeah.
Great.
That's awesome, dude.
Right. And so I'm not at a loss for that. So I take my time now. I always have 5 to 6 episodes in the can.
That's awesome.
I could literally take a month off, month and a half, easy, of shooting no content at all, and still push stuff out every day.
That's awesome.
And drop a short
the idea.
form.
That's what I'm trying to get.
Short form. I'm doing 6 to 7 days a week on 11 to 12 different channels, and then one long form a week.
Yeah. Like I said, it came up overnight, like to me anyway. I mean, I'm sure it's not overnight to you because you were putting the work in, and I get that, but it's how it works too. Overnight, you pop up typically.
Well, it is something about being focused enough to do it.
Yeah, I think the universe or the algorithm or whatever it is wants to see you're going to put the reps in long enough.
It's a consistency
to do it so you're worthy. Otherwise, like, oh yeah, it's got to come up.
Out of nowhere, 2 weeks ago, I had in my Instagram feed, thing came up, would you like a free 20-minute strategy call with a meta Instagram strategist? Like, what? What?
Yeah.
I'm waiting for where's the paywall? Where's it say paid advertisement?
Right.
And it was legit.
Nice.
And now my new best friend is Jay. We talked last week for half an hour.
He works at Meta?
He's at Meta.
That's pretty cool.
He's at Meta.
Yeah, Jeff, you're doing some big shit. We want you to keep doing this.
And it was so cool that love or hate on Zuckerberg.
Right.
They are rewarding their content creators by saying, because we talked, he gave me gold.
Yeah.
He gave me nuggets.
Things you had no idea
on what to do. And then an entire 2-page email afterwards with embedded links.
Nice.
On stuff we were talking about. And to refer. And I now have his email at any time. If I have a question anytime regarding Instagram, I can email him, gets back to me.
Took you, about a year to get there? How long?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
I'm going to put on my calendar.
About a year.
A year from now, hopefully I'm...
And so now I have that as well, that I have a direct contact, like literally any day at Instagram.
That's pretty cool.
And he's going through my stuff at the same time. So that was super cool.
Yeah.
And so it comes down to, but for me though, I'm a big fan because again, how old are your kids?
I got 16, 14, and 4.
Boys, girls?
Got girl, boy. Yeah.
It's a crazy dynamic.
It's a little gal. Well, we thought she couldn't get pregnant. Then a little while, keep trying, I guess, hard enough. She gets pregnant. So that's why the gap was between
them. The practice is always the best.
Yeah, you got to keep practicing.
Firm believer of the practice. Firm believer of the practice.
It worked.
The thing, though, it's holding yourself accountable to doing this.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's, to me, I think that's what you have to bring to the table is the accountability and taking personal responsibility of yourself.
Yeah.
That if you're successful in other things, you can be very good at being a podcaster.
Yeah.
And that the back end of it, your goal is, like you'd love to monetize, right?
Yeah.
But the cool thing that's going to happen before you monetize on YouTube, that takes forever, is going to be you'll get more business.
That's the idea.
In your professional life.
That's the only idea, honestly, because like the monetizing to me is so far out there. And honestly, like maybe I'm cutting myself short and maybe it's going to come quicker if I do well, which it very well may. But
you'll do fine.
That's not my goal. My goal is, hey, I want to tell you guys about, how everyone's making money. And like with my life insurance, like it's always, and every guest I have needs a version of it, whether they have it already, maybe they don't, but we at least talk about with almost everybody and just getting it out there, do the reps of getting it out there. And then, the whole premise of mine is, it's called financial advisory, which is I thought it was a really cool title and the cool logo, like the old parental advisory stickers. We used to bring it back to my generation. And when you get a new Slayer record, it's got it's a good record because it's got the
Twisted
sticker on it.
Sister was the first one. Dee Snider went up against Tipper Gore in the Senate hearings. And I remember it.
There was such a backfire on them. It's
God.
All it did was made me want it more.
Look at NWA.
Yeah, it worked.
I mean, come on.
So like that's what I think that logo on there and the whole idea behind it is just talking to people of how they made their money, what they're doing to make more, or how they're preserving it. Because people make money in unique ways. And like not everyone knows how people make money. So it's everyone can relate to it. Kind of like, if you made a money in regular W-2 job, or maybe you quit there and you went somewhere else, or real estate, or pick a thing, right? And there's all these different ways people make money. So it's cool to bring on different guests. So
let's talk a second about motivation. Because you're a motivated guy. You're a driven motherfucker, Tony.
I am.
You just are. What is your thoughts just on motivation? Like what motivates you?
I wish part of me doesn't want to know because it might fuck up the formula. And I've joked that with people before, like, you know, people go to therapy and they want to dissect why they are a certain way. And it's like, if I understand that too much, I may unravel and not want to, I don't know. I'm a little curious of like, I don't want to fuck that up. So I don't really know. Motivation, just like, I want more cool shit. Like nice things motivate me. That's like the simple answer, but like being afraid of mediocrity and understanding like the middle class is probably going to be gone one day and which side do you want to be on. So it's like, I don't want to be poor. I've had money and I've had no money and I like having money better. So like that motivates me. My kids kind of always looking at me like, you know, don't want to let them down, won't let them down. So that's, I don't know, kind of motivate myself, just self-driven. I don't really know.
You ever had like that one person that's a complete dick? And that just
a bunch of them,
and that just dry, and that like at any job.
Oh, yeah. Proving people wrong, that's easy. Proving people wrong has always been a thing. Like even my stepdad, I used to write on the chalkboard in the shop, like prove dad wrong, you know, like so maybe those things can be like, but like just
love that.
Proving people wrong is fun. Like I was joking around the other day with a buddy of mine. He called me, and I was right about something big. And it's silly, but it was like I was so right. I'm like, man, you know what? In this whole world, I like money, cars, pussy, and being right. Those are the things I like the most.
And not in that order.
Right, exactly, right. And like, because what it was is he works in line industry still. He's a general foreman. He makes pretty good money. He saves his money. He's really smart too. And but he bought new appliances. And I think he was trying to install them himself. I'm like, dude, you make enough money. It's $25 fucking. Have that guy do it.
Exactly.
And what it was, he called me because I was supposed to go to his house and talk about life insurance. He goes, hey man, I got to reschedule. I'm at the hardware. So it's like 8:00 at night at the hardware store looking for a fitting that he stripped out. I'm like fucking laughing my ass off. I'm like, dude. So that shit motivates me. Like when I'm right and people acknowledge it, and it's like, all right, dude, you're right. Let's do it your way or whatever.
It's something
That's
that I've seen with motivation is, and this is something also comes with age, right?
Mm-hmm.
That I'll impart upon you is that the more moldable you are, the faster you're going to achieve your own happiness.
Yeah.
Whether that's financial, romantic, physical, you know, health-wise, whatever.
Yeah.
That if you take advice from anybody, like we're talking now about getting in this business, anyone you're going to hire in your team is going to be in their 20s.
Yeah.
They're all in their fucking 20s.
Yep.
And they can work circles around you.
Yep.
And they're the nicest, most talented kids. You know, because I'm like, when I was in my 20s,
I was a dick.
I was a fucking asshole, egotistical, running around doing blow, smoking weed, just doing harming myself. Was, you know, running around with different girls, like everything I could have been doing for negative attention to myself.
Yeah.
I remember people telling me that, and I wouldn't listen because my ego was greater than anything else. And now I'm like, I don't care if you're 14 years old. If you have a comment about what I could be doing better on here,
it's different,
or in life, okay. Because maybe there's something you're seeing I'm not. Like I take advice from my kids all the time.
Yeah.
My daughter's 14, my son's 8.
Yeah.
And I ask them all the time, how am I doing as a dad?
Oh.
You know, and my ex and I, we get along great.
Sure.
We, you know, split up. It'll be 4 years in April. We get along great. We co-parent really well.
Yeah.
And the kids see that.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
But that's like, you put the kids first. If your kids are unhappy with what's going on after you break up from being in a marriage or long-term relationship, you are a shitty parent.
Yeah.
You are completely devoid and neglect and selfish.
Yeah.
You are devoid and neglect of your parental duties if after you get divorced from your spouse, you do not step up even more to be a better mom or be a better dad.
Yeah.
And shame on you for that. You should have your fucking license revoked to be a fucking parent.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah. Unfortunately, there's no prerequisite for that because there should be.
Well, and it's funny because now, like, I have honest conversations. My daughter's very smart, very astute. We never baby talked her, and she's 14.
Yeah.
She goes to a performing arts school here. She's in the Broadway theater, so she projects herself, and there's a whole thing.
Yeah.
Thank you. I mean, it's pretty fucking cool. And we're talking about, I go, are you seeing what's going on in Texas right now? She's like, no. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like, don't they have like, I thought they have like a CNN even, I don't care, but some kind of like
Schools
TV
don't
thing
talk about that shit.
in the morning. I thought they would do like a current events thing for the kids, and they don't.
Yeah.
And I'm like, first of all, in my lifetime, I've never seen anything like bad go on. Like there was Iraq, which was awful. I'm not taking anything away from that twice.
Yeah.
Was bad, but I was never scared about people coming here.
Right.
I was never scared about that. And now with 5,000 to 10,000 illegal immigrants coming over the fucking border,
Yeah.
and we have a president that can't form a fucking relevant sentence, and who would now talk about like, you know, more money going to Israel, more money going to fucking Ukraine.
And it gets talked about less.
And it gets talked about less.
Yeah. When we were in high school, we were pretty fortunate because, I mean, we watched when 9/11 happened, they rolled in the TVs. We watched it all happen live. I was a freshman. Yeah, freshman. And so, yeah, they all of a sudden everyone stopped. We just started watching this. And I remember being serious when one of the older teachers, actually our substitute that day, he goes, the second plane hit, somebody came in and told us, like, hey, another one hit. Like, we're all like, and he's like, hey guys, just so you guys know, this is a big deal. We're under attack. This is not you guys all remember where you're at when this happened. And for sure it did. Everyone does, right?
We're now under attack.
Yeah. So we went to the library, a bunch of us were in small high school too, by the way. Really small high school. But we watched in the library, which, you know, most of the live, and then the first one comes down, we're like, holy shit. Like, it's wild.
Well, and
nowadays, I don't think I would do that. I don't know what would happen if that happened today. I don't believe it would be as like current events. I don't think they'd show the kids as much.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think I'm agreeing with you. I don't think so as well. But like, ever been to Texas?
I have.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, you don't mess with Texas.
Right.
And
they're proving it right now.
Fucking people are so stupid. Go through California.
Yeah.
Gavin Newsom's a fucking idiot. Anyways, he'll with open arms, they'll let you in there.
Yeah.
And I still love going to San Diego, but I love getting the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
Like I'll take my kids to Disneyland every once in a while, but I get the fuck out of there.
Yeah. Go to Disney World. It's nicer anyway.
I'm going there next week.
Yeah.
I'm going next week with my son. I can't wait. I love it there.
Yeah.
But you don't mess with, like, I think it's like there's 12 guns for every citizen in the United States. Like, we're the most armed country in the history of the world by a factor of 12.
Yeah, it's not even close.
Right? Not even close.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm a proud gun owner. I'm a lifelong NRA member. My dad taught me how to shoot a Ruger 22 when I was 8 years old in Canandaigua, New York at the Canandaigua Sportsman's Club. Nice. I remember like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
And so I've always been, well, there's some I'll tell you in a second about too. It's to see what's going on now, and that 5,000 to 10,000 illegal immigrants are coming over our borders
that we know about.
That we know about.
Could be worse.
And the Supreme Court is saying, no, keep letting them in.
Yeah.
Who's going to pay for all this?
Yeah, it's wild because there's no good answer. I don't think, because I mean, obviously shut them out is the easy answer, but then it's like maybe that country should get their shit together. Maybe we could help them get their shit together versus. It's like we want it to be a shitty country. It goes deeper than just let them in, don't let them in. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think either one of us are smart enough to know the entire big picture. It's way worse than just let them in, or because instead of having one person for every 10,000 people trying to get in and help them with the paperwork, it should be the other way.
Exactly.
Have more people help them, right? Because we can put them to work. We can do good things for them. And I'm not even like, it's so bad. It's just like the rest of the world is, it just shows you how bad the rest of the world is. So people who are here, they bitch about America. It's like, have you traveled anywhere outside of your fucking town? No. Because if you're bitching about how bad things are, like travel, you go to the Virgin Islands, which is part of America. It's a third world country, except for where the rich people live. And I've worked there a bunch. I've spent a lot of time there. There's places that America claims as their own that are shitholes that you don't feel safe in compared to America, right? So like people who haven't traveled like to bitch a lot. And then don't let them in, don't let them. It's like, okay, cool, but see the rest of the world. The rest of the world's a shithole. Really is. Even like nice places in Europe compared to here, we've got it pretty good here. So the big answer could be like showing up the rest of the, I don't know, rambling here, but like,
no, you're fine.
It's definitely like not an easy solution.
It is, to me, it's follow the money.
Exactly.
Exactly. You know,
that's what I was kind of getting at. It's a bigger picture than just letting people.
Ukraine gets invaded by Russia, and next thing you know, I mean, because who are the biggest lobbyists? Some of the biggest lobbyists in Washington are all the defense contractors.
Oh yeah,
and it's all the generals that used to be, you know, in the government, high-ranking officials.
What happened with Cheney when 9/11 happened?
Oh yeah, with Halliburton.
So I say it's bigger than just letting these people in, right? Like if you look at them as a human, it's like, oh, we feel bad. Yeah. We should find a way to help you. But then if it's like, oh, what's the motive here? Why is this happening? Why is your country a piece of shit? Why is the rest of the world a pile of shit? It's hence by design.
With the immigration crisis going on right now, and in Texas,
it
is not a war. Because it's not a war,
there's no funding.
The defense contractors aren't going to make any money off of what's going on along the Texas-Mexico border right now. So that's why the government has no idea what to do, and it's really peeling back the layers to show how inept
reminds me
our
of like,
system is.
reminds me of like being an adult. And somebody else has said this. I'm not trying to rip anybody off, but like when you're a kid, you think adults got it figured out. Then you get there like, fuck, no one knows what's going on, right? It's kind of like the government. I think we all think the government has it figured out, and they're just humans like looking around like, what the fuck? I just got here last week. What? Into the turnover, right? So it's like, they just don't know what's going on. I think equally incompetent as like when it comes being from a kid to an adult, there's this magic switch that happens. It doesn't happen.
A big thing and I've been doing this since I was on America Online back in '94.
AOL.
So yeah, right.
Yeah.
They get my CDs. That was the thing.
Yeah,
And
I remember that.
I always learned when I was advising people back when I was as a title rep, I had 100 to 200 real estate agents for my clients, brokerages here in town, and I would speak on social media.
Yeah.
I was the first guy in Vegas. Like I was the first one here. I was doing live streaming on Periscope.
I remember Periscope.
First one to do
briefly,
Facebook Lives.
Yeah.
And so I would always tell people, you don't want to offend anybody on social media because if you do, there's a 100% chance someone's not going to want to work with you.
Sure.
And that's going to be religion and politics. You don't talk about it.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, I talk about my politics all the time. And the thing is, I'm a registered independent in Nevada because we're a battleground state and I don't want to get as much fucking mail.
Yeah.
Because the trees they got to kill.
Yeah, no
they
shit.
have logging rights of fucking Washington State. It's crazy. So what I do is, but I've been Republican my whole life. But I'm more on, as long as the economy is going to grow, you've got my vote.
Sure.
If you're pro economy, first, good.
Yeah.
A little conservative with shit, but pro economy.
Yeah. I can lean down the middle and lean a little right. It doesn't got to be.
I'm okay with that.
The radicals on either side are equally silly. Equally silly. You can't tell me that your radical right are any better than the radical left. They're equally silly. And it's like, most people aren't that way though. But those people get the most noise. Most people are like you and I, we're down the middle. We can lean left or right.
Well, let's talk.
Let's talk, right? We can have a conversation.
Let's have a conversation.
But the people who can't, let's be like, shut the fuck up. I don't want to hear what you have to say because you're so fucking lunatic.
And those are the people you just kind of have to go, okay. Like what I do is I block them. People that are just like, and also be like, I just block them.
Yeah.
What I've talked before on my show about universal basic income and how it could be coming.
Sure.
To where, you're getting a check from the government every single month for doing nothing.
Yeah.
For doing nothing.
Aren't people already getting that?
I said it's like the movie WALL-E. It's everyone's just fat.
I haven't seen that.
Oh my God.
Kids,
with young
cartoon,
kids.
right? Yeah.
It's a cartoon movie.
Yeah.
And they're all these giant fat people on a fucking ship in outer space drinking big gulps.
Yeah.
Drinking like Slurpees.
Yeah.
And they're all just morbidly obese because and everything's taken care of for them.
Sounds like America, right?
And so
parts of it.
I've always said I'm proud of being an American. I've always said, if I had to fight for my country, I would. Okay. But now it's like, who's the one making I grew up with Reagan.
Yeah.
Like Reagan was my president growing up. Like, I was going to high school, it was fucking Ronald Reagan.
Yeah.
And I saw the fall of the Berlin Wall and Gorbachev and Glasnost and all that stuff. And then, Bush 41, first term was great. And then towards the end, after the first Iraq conflict, he got destroyed.
Yeah.
And then Clinton came in and it was okay to get your dick sucked in the fucking White House. What?
Yeah.
What
happened all of a sudden?
What's going
that's
on
about
here?
What I remember as a kid, because I'm a little bit younger, and that's about the first president I remember was Clinton. Because I was, it's 90s. I was pretty young. But I've always, politics have never, it's too easy to talk in circles and nothing changes in politics for me. So it's like, I'm such a big person on like production, right? So if I can't, yes, you can get out and vote, you can do things, but man, I feel like it's so big that, man, even us talking about it, I don't think it's going to change anything. So when I do that, when I realize that, I'm like, well, how does my life, how is it affected? What can I do in my life to do better? Because otherwise, man, you can lose sleep over politics. I just refuse to do that.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, I don't know if it's ever going to help. We could talk all day. You could get as big as you want. You could look at guys like, pick a famous person who talks politics. They're not really changing anything. It's unfortunate.
Well, the only person I see that can right now is Tucker Carlson.
That's who I was trying to think
of. Him going to Canada.
Yeah.
Like the stuff going on in Canada now.
Yeah.
And for him to have thousands of people in a freaking arena.
Yeah.
Just to hear him just sit there and talk.
Yeah. So, maybe that is what we needed, right? Maybe that's enough for people finally said enough. But even him, right? Like, does he change the taxes that we're bitching about? Does he change the big pictures, man, just doesn't get changed.
And that's time will tell.
Right.
People get pushed to a certain point and they're like, I've got to keep talking about this.
I agree.
Like I'm at that point now.
I guess what I'm getting at is, I'm in a spot where it's like, I'm not ready to be that person because I could talk all day.
You're
right?
not, and that's okay.
Yeah. I'm just like happy to have guys like you or Tucker
Sure.
go out there and rant and rave. Like, hey, dude, you got my support, but I'm trying to make it over here. You know, that's kind of where I'm at with it.
When you get to a point that, you know, like with my mom passing away, some money came in, but I had money put away as well, and I got fired from my job because I wasn't there anymore.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't talking to clients. I was coming here all the time doing this stuff.
Yeah.
So I knew it was coming.
Sure.
It was okay. It was the biggest blessing I ever had.
Oh yeah.
Because when you got money put away, to not have to worry, I mean, scared money never makes money.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And as you get older, if you have some money put in the bank, and you can really follow your fucking passion,
It's called fuck you money.
it's called fun. And so
there's different levels of it too, right?
And there's different levels of it because I in no way at all have fuck you way to retire.
No,
but I'm good for a while.
Exactly.
I'm good for long enough to put everything I have and double down into this.
Yeah.
And talk about my politics. And I did a thing about a post about universal basic income, and somebody put on there, you know, how could you hate that? We'd all be getting free money. That's phenomenal. And my only reply was, who's going to pay for it?
Yeah.
They never answered back.
Right.
And that's what I put to every single one of those comments is,
Pays for it.
talk to who's going to pay for it. And it's us. And we're already how many $1 trillion in debt?
Yeah, it's like people can't fathom
with
money.
interest rates about to change. A lot of those notes are resetting soon.
Yeah.
On with Treasury. So it's like,
Yeah.
oh shit, or the Fed. So it's like, oh shit.
Well, it's people don't understand the difference between a million and a billion, let alone a billion to a trillion. If you do it time, when you reference it with time, it's a big difference. It's like I think $1 million in seconds is like 11 minutes, and a billion is like I can't think of it. I'm drawing a blank, but it was a substantial jump. And then it's like years. And then like trillions is hundreds and thousands of years. So you look at it in time, it's a massive. So you look at that many trillions of dollars, people can't understand it. But when you actually quantify it or you show them or you quantify it with time, it's a lot different.
When you give people a different way to look at something, it's much better.
Oh, yeah.
You ever use ChatGPT?
I have.
Right?
I have.
So I use the audio.
Okay.
And it's a girl. I love her.
Okay.
I love you, Brandy, but Brandy already knows. So I go in and I do the voice one.
Yeah.
How many seconds are in? No, wait a minute. What did we ask before?
$1 million in seconds.
That's right.
Or in time.
How much time is 1 million seconds, 1 billion seconds, and 1 trillion seconds?
There we go. It's substantial.
And she's good. She's fucking good, Tony. Like I do this with my kids all the time.
I don't
from
use
the
the
car.
talk part. I'm gonna start using that more though. I
It's good.
have it on my phone. I use it for stuff like that. I'll write a letter and I'll like filter it through ChatGPT, like to unfuck my grammar. It's awesome. And you sound really smart too. Because not everyone is hip to that yet.
You sound smart as fuck.
Yeah, not everyone's hip to it yet. So like before they all are, before it's like Google, which is getting probably pretty close to it, you sound really smart. That's cool. I always tell my buddy, dude, run your email through ChatGPT. You sound stupid. And he does.
And of course, I'm doing it now, and she isn't fucking up with anything. It's still fucking working, and we're gonna move on.
That's all right.
But
we'll get it. It's a big. Maybe you can put it in the comments or whatever. But it's a big difference. And
It's
when
massive.
you quantify it that way, it's like, oh shit, that's how much debt we're in. It's a lot. It's a lot.
I'm because now with ChatGPT,
Yeah.
I am now using it to where I have a client that they do contracts, and they do like it's like 150-page contracts.
Yeah. Okay.
And so they have to read them all. You know, attorneys, of course, always have attorneys, double check your shit.
Yep.
But they look at them too. I go, what are you looking for? They go, well, this, and this. I go, well, give it to me.
Yeah.
And I'll
find this part.
And I could put it all in, upload to ChatGPT,
Yeah.
and say, scan this contract. Are we looking for these things?
Yeah.
And I go, also, what I do is I'll say, based on the client, whatever preconceived biases the client has, identify those as well.
Damn.
If they're in the contract.
Nice. What I've used it for is so like if I'm getting somebody underwritten for life insurance and they've got a sketchy past, criminal or health or whatever it may be, right? It's like, and typically it's criminal, which is weird. You wouldn't think criminal history would mess with ability to get life insurance, but it does. And the answer I've received from underwriters is like, hey, if this guy's out running and gunning doing XYZ 15 years ago, that's a behavioral trait. He may tone it down a little bit, but ultimately he's still making similar bad life choices probably, right? I was like, oh, that kind of makes sense. So like his ultimately affects his mortality, right? But doing dumb shit, whatever it may be, dumb shit leads to death. Okay, it makes sense. So I'll write up an email or a letter. It's like, hey, this is so-and-so. He's done XYZ in his life. Write me an email making him look good or whatever it is. And it comes back with some wild shit. You think this guy's running for office. It's like, and the emails, or the things that ChatGPT people make it look good. I'm like, this guy looks like a stellar citizen. And they'll word it so elegantly. It's like, this is fucking awesome. So I do it all the time. If I got a sketchy dude, email, cover letter, get submitted underwriting, and it works.
Good for you.
Yeah, it's so great.
The technology is unbelievable.
Yeah, and it's getting better. It's like it's Skynet. We're fucked.
It's 1,000% Skynet, dude.
It's minutes or days before we're fucked, but for right now, it's kind of cool.
And I've said, I drive a Tesla, about to get rid of it.
Yeah.
Because I had some shit go south on it.
Okay.
But I've said, if we're a hard target here in Vegas because of Creech and Nellis Air Force bases. What the first nuke hit Henderson, where I live.
Actually, Colorado's got some big targets too.
You have a shitload.
Yeah, it's a big
You
deal.
have a fucking shitload.
You think it's nice and remote?
Montana, Colorado, North Dakota, fucking silos, dude.
I know.
Silos.
There's an abandoned silo on one of the sites we were working on. I crawled allegedly, maybe looked around in there. It's pretty cool looking.
It's I again, like a little government thing. Again, as long as you make me better, and I was blind to everything.
Yeah.
I have a Tesla Model Y.
Okay.
And I love it. Best car I've ever had. And I've had nice cars, but fast. I don't have to get gas anymore.
They're fun. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Charge up in my garage.
Yeah.
I'm good. Off I go. My son stays over with me during the week sometimes. And every Wednesday and Thursday night he's with me. Friday morning, getting him in the car won't open. I use my app as the key for a Tesla. It's not even recognizing me. It just shows like
that's a bummer.
vanilla. So there's no customer service on the app unless it's a email. So
Really?
I have to Google.
Yeah.
And I find out the number from Google, call it, and the guy lets me in. So I'm driving my son, and he goes, I can't get you connected to the app. I have to transfer you to finance. I go, I paid cash for the car.
Yeah.
Why finance?
Right.
I don't know. That's just what I'm being told. So this second person I get over to, go to the school, my son goes, and then person at finance goes, I can't help you. I need to send you to customer service. So then I started driving to the Tesla dealership here in town.
Yeah.
By the time I got to the dealership here in town in Vegas, I was on my sixth person.
Damn.
Ping-ponging me back and forth.
Is it a glitch? Was it ultimately?
They still have it. And that was Friday.
Well, they have a car still?
Yeah. I brought it to them on Friday. They gave me an X, which is a super nice car.
I'll pull up next to an X. Okay.
Yeah, super nice car.
Sure.
They gave me an X, and the service manager was great. Rich, awesome guy. Was like, we'll get a hold of you. We know what's going on. He goes, I don't know what this is.
Yeah, I thought McLarens were touchy.
Same. It's same. I just saw McLaren this weekend.
Yeah.
And so
I have one. And it is touchy. I mean, it's like, but not like that.
It was to the point where it was a catastrophic failure of the operating systems of the vehicle, and it wasn't my fault. And that's something that's glaringly like, holy shit, as a warning.
Which all cars have computers. That could happen to all cars, but not like that. That sounds extreme.
It was to the point where, because there's no key, so you can't, there's no way, man, I can't get in. And luckily I know how to I know how to get shit done.
You're resourceful. Yeah.
I know how to get shit done. I knew I couldn't go through the phone, Google, number, boom, bang. Nope, not working. I'm driving to the dealership.
Yeah.
When I got to the dealership, they're apologizing, but they're also like, I'm so sorry. I've never seen this before.
Right.
And I go, it's okay, but I'm probably getting a Toyota Tundra.
There you go. Reliable.
And that's why.
Yeah.
I've had Toyotas before. My ex and I had a Sequoia.
Yeah.
Couldn't kill that thing.
Sure.
My dad is on his 7th or 8th Tacoma. He drives them for 3 years and buys a new one. Every time.
It's the same car because they haven't updated.
Yeah.
Barely updated.
No. I mean, little
there's jokes online.
Like sensory stuff.
You'll see memes like the Toyota 4Runner.
It's the same.
It's like, we got Apple Play. It took us 20 years. We got Apple Play. That's all it's
finally
changed. That's all it's changed.
It's that same very methodical, industrial looking dashboard, but you can't kill them, man.
Yeah.
You can't kill a Toyota. And so I'm like, I'd much rather, because I'm playing.
Do you know why that is?
Why?
What I've heard from mechanics is that the Japanese will engineer a car knowing that Americans or humans, won't maintain them like they should. Whereas Germans, you always hear Germans are Mercedes and BMW and Porsche. They're all reliable, but you got to follow maintenance. So they'll engineer a car where if you follow the maintenance, you're good. So it's the two different mentalities where the Japanese are like, hey, we know that you're not going to fucking follow. We're going to engineer this thing so it runs no matter what. Germans are like, no, we fucking engineer it this way. It should be done this way. And if you do it this way, it's going to last. So that's the difference between German and Japanese cars. They're both reliable in their own right. But if you take care of the Mercedes, it will last. But if you miss maintenance on it, you have problems. Whereas Japanese are like, yeah, We know you're going to miss an oil change. We're going to build it so you can still drive it.
It
which
still
is crazy.
goes.
It's so crazy.
It is to me.
That's the difference.
But also, I mean, the Japanese, that's on my bucket list is to go to Japan. Have you been there?
I have not, but equally.
Bucket list.
We'll go together.
Done.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm down.
Yeah.
I'm down.
Yeah.
They have such respect for rules.
Mm-hmm.
Like I saw a meme showed people, it was in and out of a subway station in Japan, and it was stairs.
Yeah.
Everyone was going up the right side. Nobody was going up, to just go around.
Yeah.
Where here would be like fucking roaches.
It's madhouse. Yeah.
Like Harry Reid Airport.
Yeah.
Fucking
People are rude.
bananas.
Yeah.
Rude as shit.
Yeah.
They don't care. No one says excuse me. No personal space
I'll tell you,
boundaries.
it's better here than New York, and in Colorado, it's a lot nicer. I've noticed that because I've traveled quite a bit for work and whatever. And when I moved to Colorado, I'm like, this is the nicest place I've ever been. And the people are a lot nicer. I think it's a regional thing. Human nature in American, right? That's grossly average of what you're talking about, right? And different parts are worse. Like New York's pretty bad, And then
I live there.
Yeah,
I know.
it's just, like New York City, everyone's rude, right? And they're just in a mood. They're just go, whatever. And Colorado's like super lax, super like they're a little more of the I'm sorry and polite.
First state to legalize weed.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on,
right.
man.
And then you go here, it's like
wonderful.
Here's like a mixture of both. It's a melting pot here, and so yeah, I think it's more of a regional thing than.
I think that I've been here 11 years, and Vegas. I like Vegas. I used to love it.
Okay. It's like wearing off. It's
Yeah,
like the luster's wearing off.
And again, like my son's 8, so I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
I'm here, man.
Yep.
I'm good.
Yep.
But one of the advantages of being in a long-term relationship, my girlfriend's a little bit north of Tampa, is I'm there almost every month.
There you go.
Or she's here, which is great. But for me to get out of here,
Both places are pretty cool to visit, by the way. Vegas and Tampa.
Yeah, both wonderful places to visit. But to see her house, it's like my fortress of solitude.
Yeah.
She cooks for me. Like I'm a very traditional guy.
Yeah.
And she's in Tampa, but she's from the South. She's from Northern Georgia.
Okay.
So she's a 4-star cook.
That's awesome.
Self-taught.
That's pretty cool.
Dude, our first date was dinner at her house.
That's awesome.
Like tenderloin, all the veggies, the starches, and made.
What's cool, because Vegas is a food town without really being a food town. It's weirdly like there's 5-star restaurants in every fucking building.
Food town.
But like you don't think of it that way. At least I didn't. I don't think of it as a food town because you think of it as casinos and entertainment. But there's a fucking badass steakhouse in every building.
There is.
So you come from a spoiled area where and she's still impressing you. That's pretty impressive.
It's amazing to me. And as a caveat to what you said, a lot of people don't know that when you go off the strip, there's even better restaurants for like
I learned
30%
about Korean,
cheaper.
I learned about Korean barbecue one time off the strip. I didn't know what the fuck it was.
Dude, our Chinatown here is
awesome.
legit.
It's awesome.
Our Chinatown here is, you could start, you can go to our Chinatown on Spring Mountain and start at like the first restaurant in the plaza. Just order like one thing.
Yeah.
Like one appetizer, and then
keep
go to the
moving.
next one.
Keep
And go to the
moving.
next one. I know people that do that.
Yeah.
And it's a thing.
Yeah.
And it's amazing because the different stuff, and all I want to do it and walk in and ask the server, what's your favorite thing on the menu? And if they say the most expensive, I'm out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
You just lost me.
You're leaving. Yeah.
I'm gone.
Yeah.
But if you say something else, like middle of the road to the lower end, and it's what you get all the time there, I'm in.
Yeah.
And so that's the part of, we have more 5-star restaurants here than any city in the world.
Yeah. It's wild.
When I travel somewhere and someone goes, oh, we got to go to Jimmy's Rib Shack, it's the best in the world.
Like I've got
I'm
4.
like,
I drove past 4 to get here to the airport. Yeah.
Okay, but I go.
Sure.
It's not as good as some of the places here.
Yeah.
It's not as good as Rolling Smoke.
Yeah.
But
Denver
I'm
sucks.
like, I'm like, okay.
Denver food sucks.
Does it really?
Yeah, it's
Well,
not.
I would think like steak or something would
There's
be good
high end.
there.
Well, their high end stuff's fine. High end Denver's fine. It's your middle, like, hey, let's go for a burger somewhere. You can't. There's nowhere. Like, there's nothing to that middle have to go places, right? It's just like, your high end places downtown, like every city has. Outside of that, it's no.
Do you cook?
Yeah. Not really.
No?
I grill. I don't really cook. I grill.
That's cooking.
Yeah.
What do you grill?
Meat. Just steaks.
That's it?
That's pretty much
Ever
it.
smoke stuff?
I have a smoker, but I also use it for cooking. Like I'll grill my steaks and I'll also smoke. So yeah.
That's
I bought it for the turkey. I wanted to do a Thanksgiving turkey in the smoker, and I did that. It was awesome. So that's why I bought my Traeger. And then after that, I just used it for. You can also go up to 500 degrees, so you can do like a regular grill. I like it better.
I like to grill a lot. I have steaks. I bought a Costco. I need to cook off.
You showed me that thing from your party down at wherever it was. Is the
barbecue.
The big group.
It was a
barbecue.
wedding.
Yeah.
That was a
Barn
wedding.
wedding.
Yeah,
That's what it was.
It was a wedding that Brandy was in. I was her +1.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God.
It's pretty cool.
And I'm just the kind of guy, I like to tinker with systems and stuff like that. So when it was a barbecue, I'm going back and talking to the guys, with giant guts.
Yep.
And they're drinking fucking Coors,
Yep.
you know, and smoking Winston Lights or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm talking to them about their business.
Yeah.
And all they do is barn weddings all over
Traveling barn
Central Florida.
Pretty cool.
And they've got that big old fucking smoker that they pull, and they did the baked beans and the potatoes, and the barbecue is unbelievable. The brisket, unbelievable.
Yeah. The South. The South's
You know,
good. Oh,
but that's the South. If sweet tea,
Yep.
you know,
Yep.
I'm like, I don't do sweet tea. I don't do sugar that much. But now, when I go there, I'm going to Publix and get a fucking gallon of sweet tea. Brandy knows it.
Regional grocery stores crack me up too.
Which is wonderful.
Yeah.
You know, I grew up upstate New York, Wegmans.
Okay.
Which is you
As a
can't.
kid, I thought Jewel Osco was, everyone had Jewel Osco. That's in Chicago. That's where the grocery store was, Jewel Osco and Dominic's. Like, oh, everyone has this. And Aldi. I didn't know I didn't know grocery stores were regional. So you're traveling. Oh, what the fuck is King Supers? Is this Mario Kart?
Kroger's.
Kroger's. Yeah, it's like,
What?
It's weird. It's definitely weird.
It's again, it gets into the different like little cultures. You know, there's thousands upon thousands of different cultures throughout the United States.
Yeah.
And for anyone, like I've driven across country three times, and so even the topography.
Oh, yeah.
The geography.
The gas stations are different.
It's so different.
Oh, yeah.
And you walk into a gas station from Canandaigua, New York to Lincoln, Nebraska, totally different vibe.
Oh, yeah.
Different way of dress, different way of talk.
Yep.
The food is different. Everything is just like my girlfriend's from Winder, Georgia, little town outside of Tampa. Excuse me, I'm dying to go there because all she's talked about is the biscuits.
Okay.
She goes, you can go to any gas station and they've got Mima's recipe for biscuits.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. Gotta try that.
In the morning with put a sausage patty on there. Oh, and she's like, she goes, I can do biscuits. She goes, it's the best biscuit you've ever had in your life.
See, Denver doesn't have that. And Chicago did. I grew up outside of Chicago, but like your little farm towns had all those. Exactly what we're talking about. It was called Kringla from in Newark. And it was like, everyone had that. You missed that. And Denver has none of that.
Well, what if you guys want to go out on the date? You want to go out to eat? Where do you go?
There's small places. There's one place in 15 minutes away. Actually, the golf course. The golf course by my house is a badass clubhouse. Love that. It's 5 minutes from my house. We like that. So there's cool little places, but like, man, where we come from, there was more of those and easier to find them. Now it's like, man, and you get bummed out because you go a few times out and you get stuck. You find a shit place. It ruins the night. It's like, man, this place kind of sucked, you know?
What's in Chicago? And I've been there a few times. So I originally Pizzeria Uno. Yeah. Amazing deep. That was one of the best deep dish I ever had. Was the original pizza. What's the chain of hot dog places out there that have Chicago style hot dogs? Portillo's.
Yes.
I think they're either here or coming here.
You're getting one here, and so is Denver finally.
So
a lot of Chicago transplants.
Those are good.
Yeah.
The sesame seed, like that's a legit hot dog, man.
They have a couple in Arizona. They have a couple, not a whole lot. So like in Chicago, they're everywhere. Well, again, growing up, take it for granted. They're everywhere.
It's a cultural thing because I grew up, I was born in Manhattan, but most of my life up Canandaigua, New York. 18,000 people.
Yeah.
I mean, this is my buddy's owns the Green Front restaurant.
That's awesome.
And sent me a hoodie.
Yeah.
I have other friends of mine that have businesses there. They're sending me hoodies. And I'm like, I'll wear it. Don't worry about it for nothing.
Yeah.
I'll wear it.
People think New York is Manhattan.
And this is, so you go to like we had a thing for my mom when she passed away. And so we had a party out there for her in August. My kids came at the country club. I wanted white hots, white hot dogs.
Yeah.
From Zweigel's. Is what we have, and it's the best fucking hot dog on the goddamn entire planet.
Yeah.
So it's a whole regional thing.
Yeah.
My advice to you, in terms of with you moving forward, not that you ask for it, but it's the dad in me.
It's fine.
That I do it. Is you want to just be as real and sincere as you can, and then
so far so good.
And when you're talking to people, kind of sit back and let them talk, because we have a habit of like. Sometimes, like ADHD, I find myself, if I don't take my Adderall, I'm thinking of something to say while you're already talking to me and I'm not listening to you. Or now I pause before we came in here. I ate a gummy.
There you go.
I always do.
Okay.
You know, either gummy or microdose before I come in. And it relaxes me. And I can have a much more organic conversation with my friends that come on the show.
Yeah.
And that's it. And you get into that kind of like flow state. Tony,
good idea.
Tony.
Because what you said about thinking of something while you're talking happens to me all the time.
Right.
And if I don't blurt it out, I'll forget it. It's like, I'm not trying to be rude. I don't want to forget.
And it's training your mind just to slow down.
No,
just
I
to
need that.
slow down.
I need that.
I love your story. It's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah. Like, how long have you been in life insurance now?
Just 2 years. I shouldn't say just 2 years. It feels like a lot longer.
It feels like 20.
Yeah.
Do you see yourself like growing a team?
I'm already growing a team. So I got one guy underneath me right now.
Okay.
3 people that are interested that I was like, go get licensed and we'll talk.
That's what I meant more like
Yep.
to have like 10, 20,
Yep.
30 people
Yep.
under you.
Eventually. And I think I have a formula that works for it because of what I'm doing is a little unique. The way I do it, the way I talk to people about it, the way I approach life insurance is a little different.
Okay.
So if I can bring them on and do it that way, I think we could be pretty
And
impactful.
you'll be tagged on all the stuff that goes out from
Yeah.
this. So if people are interested, they'll get a hold of you.
Yeah.
And they'll
Yeah.
talk to you.
Mhm.
No problem. Thank you for coming in.
Yeah. Thank
This
you.
has been fun.
It's been a lot of fun.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you.